What's happening, everybody? I wanted to talk about this notion of doing something difficult each day, even just for a little bit. Look, I think we live in a very weak society right now. There's a lot of people who are very easily offended, looking to be politically correct, not to hurt someone's feelings. And 2020 was a big slap for a lot of people, right? As famously Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And I think that happened to humanity. 2020 was that imaginary punch that really came in and just like, whoa, like what the hell happened? Nobody was really expecting that. But what I can get my head around is, sure, there's a lot of bad things happening all the time, not just right now because there's all this media, making the most out of it and really pushing information all the time. But for the most part, we're still 99% much better than our ancestors were, right? Everybody's so warped in right now what's happening that if they were to take a step back and look at society, like kings and queens would kill to be in our position. Like we still have so much more access to resources. Even take our phone, for example, right? With this little device, we have so much more power than the president of the United States back in 90s, 80s, or 70s even. So that's the thing I cannot get my head around. And everybody is not really looking to develop any kind of mental toughness, which you do by doing something difficult each day. Take exercise, for example. Every single time I was depressed or I was experiencing severe anxiety or I just had one of those days where you don't feel like doing anything, more times than not, I was just thinking too much. And guess what? Thinking brings even more thinking. And that's not going to solve the problem. What's really going to solve the problem is this action, doing something. If you can do combat sport, jiu-jitsu is by far probably the best thing. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually even. That can happen. Right now it's a little bit difficult, I get that. But you can do a lot of things at home. Unless you're like completely incapacitated, unless you have some kind of a disease, genetic disease, like there is zero excuse not to work out. I don't even want to, yeah, let's not get into that. Like there is zero excuse not to get into shape and exercise. That's the thing that's really made the difference for me, at least. And initially, you kind of see, okay, how people are reacting. Of course, there's a lot of uncertainty, but it's very easy to kind of people to check out, to be victims of circumstances. Oh, I cannot do anything and blah, 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 blah. Versus people who are being resourceful, who are looking to get better and are taking opportunity of this. And I have examples of both sides. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but this notion of us having so much more power and still not being able to appreciate it is just mind-boggling, right? We have these, like I said, these phones that, you text someone, 20 minutes later the food comes in. You don't have to go and hunt it. You don't have to go and try to kill it, go through all these dangerous and perilous events just to get food on the table. You don't even have to cook it most of the time. It's just being served there. And you just eat, right? How difficult can it be? So whenever people say I'm like super bored, and I'm just thinking like how mentally weak, how mentally soft we become. And I was speaking with a buddy of mine today who's an entrepreneur, and he said, you know what, everything is a mental game. Regardless of how many courses I look at, regardless of the people that I speak to, everything is a mental game. Like for the most part, I have a roof over my head and I have food on the table. Everything else is just really focused. I'm dialed in and I'm working on what I need to be doing. So I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Everything else is a mental. We don't know. Things may become even worse. It's going to be the people who are looking to get better, who are being resourceful, who are seeking the opportunities and taking advantage of those, versus the people who are not taking any responsibility, are victims of circumstances and just kind of posting and looking for attention. So probably the easiest way to build this mental toughness is by doing something difficult each day, which is exercising. Yes, there's a lot of less options right now, but that's also a good thing. There's a lot of still good things happening right there, and we should take advantage of that. So that's it. That's my little spiel for today. Do something difficult each day, even just for a little bit. It's going to pay off a lot. Done.